I'll be honest, when my name got called last year, I didn't even hear my name getting called. I just remember standing there and being pushed by the two people that were next to me, and looking at the video. Mallory, the former Eastern Region Vice President, came and grabbed me and started running with me, but I'll be honest, I don't remember that whatsoever. I just remember running, and eventually I got on stage, and then 5 other people came on stage, and I just remember sitting there and just smiling and being all happy in the moment, and I got to see my Illinois crew. They came on the stage in front of me, and they were all giving me hearts and waving at me and stuff. And that was just a really cool moment to know that I put in the heart and I expressed how much I cared about the organization, the people in it, and knowing that they chose me to be able to serve even more people this year was a really good feeling to have.
I want to say nothing but everything at the exact same time. Like, I remember the 2 states that were next to me that pushed me forward, and I immediately hugged Courtney Zimmerman, the previous Central Region Vice President. I remember going on stage and hugging Gracie, and then seeing my teammate McKenna get elected, who I had already known before we were even national officers, and just really getting to celebrate that moment was humongous for me. And I remember coming off of stage and getting to see my mentors and my friends. My parents held onto a piece of the blue confetti that had fallen from the ceiling and brought it up to me and gave it to me so that I'd have it forever, and I kept it in my first blank jacket. But that was just a really big day, and I remember being so excited to get off stage and go see my family, because I mean, this is a family affair for me. Like, my family has been invested in this journey just as much as I have, and I was really excited to get off stage and go see all the people who had supported me and gotten me there, and I hope I never forget that day.
Oh goodness, yeah, whenever my name was called last year, I just remember pure shock. There's a picture of me actually with my mouth just wide open because I didn't expect them to call my name, and luckily one of my friends was nice enough to shove me forward and be like, you have to go. And then I ran up on the stage like crying with my hand on my face and everything, but it was just pure shock because, you know, whenever you've worked for something for 7 years of your life, you've always dreamed of being the people that inspired you years ago. It's really cool to hear your name called, to know that you now get to represent the members that make the organization so great.
I remember first running up on stage and then like hugging my teammates, but then I remember having to look at the screen to make sure I had actually been called, because I had a moment of second guessing myself. But then I remember looking out into the audience and seeing the Texas delegates. So we have 71 delegates, or we at least did last year. And I remember looking at them jumping up and down and just being excited. And I felt the same excitement. I was jumping up and down on stage too. And so I think that's a moment that I'll never forget, is just the excitement that everyone had in that room.
Oh goodness. So when my name was called to become a national officer, it was shock and disbelief, to say the least. But also, I had kind of a unique experience that when I got elected to national office and my name was called, similar to all of us, like, your heart sinks to your feet and it's a crazy moment of disbelief. But when the officer before me, Jackson Sylvester, had come and grabbed me and ran me on the stage, I fell flat on my face. So it was a combination of just like disbelief and excitement, and I was just running a little too fast, and I fell right on my face, but I got back up. And I think it's a funny story. It's so true to who I am. I've always been known to be clumsy, but it just was such a surreal moment. And one of my favorite memories or moments from that day isn't something that I saw right then and there when I heard my name called, but it's a picture that I have that I get to look at now. And something cool about that day, my parents were sitting right behind me during the election, and I have a photo of my dad, my mom, and my older sister with their hands in the air, just like screaming their hearts out when my name was called. And it's just a cool memory that I have of my family being my biggest cheerleaders and biggest supporters on that day when my name was called.
So right before, I remember thinking, oh gosh, I should have done my college work this week, because I slacked off on all my schoolwork and I was going to be super behind when I went back to school. But I remember thinking that I wanted to cheer as loud as I could for the person that did get elected, because I knew that my story might be ending in that moment, but someone else's dreams was about to come true, and that's something worth celebrating. So I was ready to cheer as loud as I could, and then next thing I know, someone pushed me out in the aisle. I looked up on the screen and saw my face, and I was like, oh my God, this is happening.
2022-2023 National FFA President from the state of Virginia, Andrew Seibel.
And ran up on stage, and then saw my parents at the foot of the stage, and it was such an incredible moment, and I wish I could relive it, but I never can. But those emotions were just so real, so raw, and I had no idea what was about to happen, and it was just such an incredible moment.